Upland Caesar allows you to transform web pages into functional electronic gadgets. With their tool, the HTML elements of a web page can be transformed into physical components by matching their underlying interfaces, allowing the same web page to physically interact with the real world without changing the source code of the web application, and allowing device simulation and automatic PCB generation, thus significantly reducing the development time for modern devices.